All types, welcome to Assholes We Love. Yes! So my name is Kacey, Ezell, and I don't feel like sitting down. So I'm gonna go ahead and moderate for you, and you're gonna like it. I'd like to start off this evening's asshole panel by introducing all of you to some assholes that I love. Our panelists. These are all good friends of mine. And let me tell you, they're all well qualified to speak. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna call on you at not random, and I'd like you. We'll start off by introduce yourself, give us your name, tell us what you do, and then tell us like your biggest like asshole trait, like the thing you do that you know is not good, but you do it anyway because it kind of makes you laugh maybe a little bit.
Resume.
Yeah. Just one thing, Larry. Just pick one.
You might need them.
I mean, I got like a PhD.
Yeah. I'll come to you last so you can think about it. We'll start with Heather.
Okay. Hi everyone. I am HP Holo, and I actually write under two different pen names. My non-smut pen name is HP Holo, and I write basically a series that is a love letter to all things monster collecting or hunting or befriending. And as Edie Sky, I write the Titan Mage series, which is basically giant robot fantasy adventure smut. So
Fans in the house.
It's tough because I'm a sweet little marshmallow. I don't really.
Bullshit!
I don't know why I'm
Balance. We have balance on the panel.
But I will say that I know that y'all know my husband Jacob Holo. He's a very reserved person, and to a certain extent, it's kind of easy to piss him off. And as his wife, I know exactly what his buttons are.
Yes.
And I love to poke them at the most inopportune moment, and it's so fun because he has really conspicuous reactions, and it's great.
Excellent example. Thank you. Ike.
Hi everybody, I'm Kevin.
I heard it with new phrases. Fuck you, Kevin.
Yeah, if you're not familiar, I have these ribbons that say "Damn it, Kevin." It was changed to "Fuck you, Kevin" tonight. So I'm Kevin Ikenberry. I write primarily military science fiction. I'm a retired Army officer. I've written some alternate history and a whole bunch of other things. I think my biggest asshole track is I'm a little bit of a smart ass. And once I find my way in, Sheila, I just keep going.
That's what he said. Awesome, thanks. Melissa.
Hey, I'm Melissa Olthoff. I write sci-fi, fantasy, and I sneak in romance wherever I can because I like what I like to read.
That's also what he said.
So I feel like I am highly qualified for this panel because I am married to an asshole. My best friend is an asshole, and I am absolutely an asshole. Don't let the innocent face fool you. I get very aggressively obnoxious, and there is a line, you do piss me off, I'm going to be a bitch.
Yeah.
Or in this case, an asshole. Rage.
Or punch you in the eye.
Punch you in the I punched her in the face. Okay, I have qualified.
I hurt someone's feelings once. Kacey and I were talking about this earlier. Yes, I am an asshole. In fact, I'm actually kind of world famous for it. And I've argued with tens of thousands, or perhaps hundreds of thousands at this point. I'm not sure if people. And even if there's 10,000, I still got them outnumbered. And the way we referred to it earlier, talking to Kacey, is you guys ever seen the TV show Dexter?
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah.
I'm like Dexter in that I'm a serial killer who only hunts other killers.
Nice.
So I'm an asshole, but I try not to be an asshole to normal people.
Yeah.
Because they don't deserve that. But God gave me certain gifts. And, I have the worst mutant superpower ever. If there's 10,000 people in an internet thread, I can look at that and say, this fucker right here. If I push this dude's button within 3 posts, he will be threatening to kill someone. Let's fucking go. And, so that's what I do. I am an asshole who hunts other assholes.
Nice.
Be careful, you will wake up saran wrap to my table.
Oh, the visuals. So many visuals.
I keep shading.
Hashtag gay.
Yeah, and in the interest of fairness, like I said, I'm Kacey Ezell, and my asshole trait is that I will turn anything into a dirty joke or an excuse to tell you how much I like fucking my husband. So. Okay, so.
Yay, easy.
Yeah, easy. My husband's name is Easy. It's also a descriptor. So, speaking of assholes, so Larry, you mentioned Dexter, right? The asshole that we love to love, the bad guy that we love to love. Let's talk about some other examples. Tell me, panelists, who your favorite asshole is in story. And that can be in books, it can be in movies, it can be in video games. The world is your oyster. Just make it a fictional one.
Sure.
Not a fictional oyster, a fictional asshole. You know.
Clarification.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Sure, yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
sorry,
you.
we were talking about
I know, I was supposed to call on you. but-
For a bunch of assholes, we're so polite, like waiting our turn.
Is it my turn?
Hey, by the way, this should be a drinking game. Every time we say asshole, you guys should drink. You're gonna get so fucked up.
You're all gonna fucking die.
Okay, I guess for me, I haven't actually read the books because I always get to page 80 and they bore me. But the entire cast of Game of Thrones. And it's not just because they're assholes that are fun to watch, it's because they're assholes who get their comeuppance and they get it gruesomely.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's
Yeah.
really satisfying to watch for someone who normally watches really fluffy things.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, awesome. Awesome.
I'll go in for you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, so being a kid of Star Wars, I loved Han Solo more than I loved Luke Skywalker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The guy that shoots first, and he fucking did.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was always the asshole, and then he becomes the lovable character, and so forth and so on. But I always loved Han Solo much more. Yeah, he gets the girl much more than Luke.
Is that who you wanted to be when you grew up?
No, I wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up. A smart ass astronaut, but.
I'm basically Chewbacca when I grew up.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
We'll let the Wookiee win.
Melissa.
Well, honestly, I've heard people say that Amos from The Expanse was not an asshole, but I would argue otherwise. He is one of my favorite characters because he is absolutely an asshole, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
He's direct.
Is he hot?
I am Team Amos all the way.
He is my favorite character, but I am that guy.
One of the greatest fictional characters of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's amazing.
And it has nothing, to be clear, because I am on the romance train of smut is awesome. It has nothing to do with the actor and the fact that he's shirtless a lot. He is genuinely
Nothing
fantastic.
at all. Nothing at all. No.
Dan can actually, my husband can attest, I didn't notice he was shirtless at one point. Didn't notice because I was so enthused and enthralled by how he was portraying that character.
He's that good of an actor.
Testament to the writing right there.
It was.
Larry,
I
who's your
didn't
favorite
notice.
fictional asshole?
Oh, I mean, I write Agent Franks, but okay. So honestly, I want a TV show that's Dr. House of creative writing.
Nice.
Yeah, because if there like I think greatest TV asshole, just someone who constantly is insulting people and is just a smug
Yeah.
dickhead, is Dr. Gregory House, and that
Yeah.
there is. It's a terribly written show if you actually know anything about science or medicine. It's awful, right? It's just awful. But if you like creative insult wise, it is writing gold. Okay.
Okay, so what makes these the guys that we... Are they all guys?
No.
Yeah.
No,
No, because you have the entire cast of
Yes.
Game of Thrones. So,
Very
all right. What makes these the characters that we love in spite of or because of their assholish tendencies? What is it that makes them not just like, that guy sucks? Yeah.
I firmly believe there is a difference between an asshole and a dick. Assholes can be like. You're welcome.
Just serving them up. Just serving them up to Kacey.
Thank you. Thank you.
America.
Did I do that on purpose?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes, I did.
Just pitch that one right over
Yeah.
the plate.
I didn't pitch it, man. I freaking threw it.
But yeah,
So
so
I
please
would-
elaborate,
I will
Melissa,
elaborate.
on the difference between assholes
Figuratively
and
or
dicks.
literally? Literally? Figuratively? Okay. So I think there is absolutely a difference. A dick, figuratively, is somebody that is just not nice. They're mean. You don't like them. But assholes, they have something. They toe that line to where they're a little bit lovable, maybe funny, direct, honest. But there is something about those characters that you don't think they're mean. And I think that is one of the big differences. And I know it's almost elementary to say it like that, but they're not mean.
Yeah,
There's an element of chaos to an asshole.
yeah.
Like a dick could be lawful good, but an asshole is chaotic neutral.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm by that. What else?
I guess I'll go next. For me, in terms of entertainment, I'm a very fluffy, cuddly marshmallow person, and even when I insult someone, I'm very southern, so I'm gonna do it in the nicest, most sugar-coated way possible. Yeah, exactly. Like I was so proud when I taught my Ohio husband how to use bless your heart properly. But because of that, watching assholes on television or reading about them in books is very cathartic because it's like I get to express those emotions through my entertainment, and it's like,
Yeah.
heck yeah, they're saying exactly what I think just to this other character that actually has no influence in my life.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. It's the opportunity to express ourselves a little bit differently. I was a career Army officer, and I could be a smartass to certain people, but for the most people, I could not be. And so when you have an opportunity to kind of be a little bit more authentic, that it kind of becomes natural for who you really are to come out. And the asshole can have that little bit of chaoticness, and they have that little bit of humor to it as well. And it really, we see them in TV or we read them in books, and we identify with them because we want to be them in a certain way, and we wish that we could be them all the time. Not all of us can be Larry, but
It is liberating.
it is liberating. But you know, it's something where, I mean, I will tell you that if you saw me at work, it would be a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Being here with you all, I feel like I can let myself down, and with the chosen family we have in fandom.
Too.
Wow.
Let your
Damn!
All right, most savage audience. All right, sweet. Now, I just think it's something that we love to see, and we wish that we could do it all the time sometimes.
Yeah.
We were saying that there aren't female assholes.
Oh,
I'll give you one.
there are.
Beth Dutton.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No. I agree that there are. I couldn't remember if any of their examples were female.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Larry.
It is actually liberating to be able to be the guy who says the really obvious stuff that everybody else wants to say, but they can't because they're constrained by societal niceties. And oh my gosh, so when you truly, a lot of people say I am out of fucks to give, but when you are truly out of fucks to give,
So freeing.
it is awesome.
Yeah.
It is like asshole nirvana.
Yeah.
And you've come full circle, and like
Yeah.
you see the universe spread before you, and you're like, fuck that guy and fuck that guy. And
You're
it's-
cool.
You're cool. I'm out.
You're all right. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's honestly it's okay in business, like being dead serious in business. In the corporate world, they have what's called the ugly fact guy. So ugly fact guy is the dude who has to be in the board meeting, and this is designated responsibility when everybody is blowing unicorn farts up each other's ass about how this some bullshit idea they have. Ugly fat guy who usually has an accounting degree is the guy who has to be like, well, that's fucking stupid, and this is why, math, right? And so you have to be the guy that ruins everyone's dreams.
So there's a related corporate position in a lot of Japanese companies that's called the loud American. And I'm not shitting you at all right now.
Guilty.
And it is a position that is
Sounds awesome.
usually filled by a gaijin or a foreigner, right? Because in Japanese business culture, you know, the rules of etiquette are so constraining that like it would dishonor you to not toe the line, but there is a business need for someone to be like, you guys are being dumb, and here's why. So they bring in someone from outside the culture who doesn't have the same cultural taboos to do that. And that's a relatively common thing that we learned about when we lived in Japan.
That's my backup plan if this writing.
To be the loud. You're well qualified, sir.
I'll be at Toyota. It's like, that's fucking stupid. Your motto, Sam. What the
The
fuck?
loud American.
You want an electric what?
Okay, yeah.
Ford needed one of those for the electric Mustang.
So here's the question, though, relating to once again the fictional assholes that we love. What role do you think competence plays in making them those lovable assholes? Do they have to be competent, or can they be like just assholes and elbows?
I think a certain amount of competence is necessary because otherwise they're just a dumbass.
Right. So now we can talk about the difference between a dumbass and an asshole.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what the character is meant to be there for. Is he meant to be there for comic relief?
Uh-huh.
Like, say, Stathis from Ember Wars. Face burst into battle, that dude ran his mouth constantly and could not get a promotion. And that was his role, was to be the loud asshole and a dumbass. But then you have somebody that is competent and can say the things to, the people in charge.
Yeah, sure.
And can be an asshole.
Yeah. Ike?
Yeah, you've got the characters that are the unlikely voice of reason because of how they've been across, how they come across in their initial characterizations, who will say something that actually turns the entire series or books or whatever else on their ear because it's one comment that they make that everybody else has kind of discounted them as being a dumbass when all of a sudden they are actually that voice of reason coming from an entirely different way.
Yeah, it's actually there's a equation here because you're right. It's if you're incompetent and you're an asshole, you're just a dipshit, right? And there's like a quotient there. But if you know what the fuck you're talking about and you speak the truth, then you could be an asshole. But you're competent. The key is competence. And if you're just spouting off dumb crap, then you're just a dipshit. My wife and I we talk about the because you've all heard the hot crazy matrix, right?
Yeah.
You all know the hot crazy matrix. There is a corresponding other matrix, and it's the confidence and competence matrix. And this is actually for dudes who are ugly. This is how you score chicks.
Boy, this panel is going all over the place. I love it.
Without the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Exactly.
Yes,
The Dunning-Kruger
exactly.
effect is part of this. But if you graph it out, you have a certain amount of confidence and a certain amount of competence. If your confidence outruns your competence, you're a dumb shit. Okay? And you're going to do dumb shit stuff, and you're going to wind up on a fail video, right?
Yeah.
That's the purpose of your life. If you are really competent, but you're not confident, then no one's going to notice you. You're just going to be the worker bee doing your job. But sweet spot for dudes, if you want to get chicks, you're competent and you're correspondingly confident. The reason my wife married me is our first date was shooting. And I'm a bumbling friggin' klutz until you put a gun in my hand, and then I'm a fucking artist, right? And so,
Valid. All right, we'll start right here. I reserve the right to discontinue questions if I think of something fun to talk about instead.
This is just a suggestion. There's also a subclass of asshole who is competent but outdated, known as the dinosaur.
Woo! Okay. All right. Yeah. An example right here. Yeah.
They may still be useful because sometimes the stuff that's newest is not the best.
Sure. Yeah.
That's right.
Sir, you
Well,
got
it's
it.
Moriarty the Patriot in an anime my wife had me watch. He killed nobility who had other innocent people killed, and halfway through the series he starts arguing with someone. My wife is surprised that who else is going to argue with Moriarty but Holmes, and he's setting up Holmes to take him out at the end of the storyline.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for that point. Yes. Sir, Blah.
I would argue the hologram is red dwarf.
So, do any of you assholes actually have a question?
Yeah, you do. Hologram and red dwarf was an idiot, so he's still an asshole.
Uh-huh.
And the second thing is there's an equation that anonymity plus audience equals asshole. It's an alternate equation for asshole.
You said you had a question.
That's the greater internet fuckwad theory. That is the thing.
All right,
Yeah.
an actual question.
Yes.
Mary.
Okay. So, if you're an asshole,
Uh-huh.
right, and you're an asshole that goes online and all that fun stuff, would you ever actually go to an Am I the Asshole room to ask if you're the asshole? Yes! Oh, you're the asshole.
Yes! All right, so we've got a couple yeses. Let's hear from the panel.
Wait, what was the question?
If you are, will a genuine, I'm going to rephrase if that's all right with you. Will a genuine asshole ever actually go and ask, am I the asshole?
Yeah.
They do.
I don't know. I also had really good bourbon for the first time in my life, so my reaction was I don't know.
Is a genuine asshole concerned about whether or not they're the asshole?
Doesn't mean concerned.
No.
Okay, fair, but I'm extrapolating. Shut up, asshole.
You're an asshole.
You're an asshole. Shut your asshole face. That's beautiful.
My wife is looking right at me. She's like,
All right. So the panelists say no. An asshole.
A real
I mean, if
asshole
you're truly an asshole and you have embraced telling the truth,
I don't care what somebody
you're convicted.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Your follow-up.
Follow-up question. Can one of you teach me to be an asshole?
Yes.
You have come to the right place.
All right. Let's see. I've paid a lot of attention to this side of the room.
That's it.
Were there questions over here? Yes, right there. It's got to be a question.
Can
Okay.
your flawed hero also still be the asshole a la Waylander from David Gemmell, the assortment of his other, very competent, flawed, and do very bad things to do a good act?
Okay.
yeah,
Flawed hero. Let's see some examples.
Ashok Fidel.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Ashok Fidel.
Yeah.
Honestly, okay, it's because like I hate the whole thing of Paladin being lawful stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're doing the right thing, you're gonna be an asshole. Sometimes doing the right. Amos is a freaking hero. Amos is a badass. Amos is the star of that show.
Yes,
I love it. I'm Team Amos all the way, man.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, if you know this guy, tell him Larry says hi.
No, personally.
But sometimes you gotta do the ugly thing to do the right thing, and a lot of times, gentle people chicken out. You punk out. You push out because the situation requires meanness or hurting somebody's feelings, and bad people recognize that and weaponize it. Bad people are the ultimate masters of manipulating the social contract. And so the asshole is nature's natural balance.
Yeah. Rich.
This is reaching back a little bit because I'm an old fart. Thomas Covenant from the Chronicles of the Unbeliever.
Total asshole.
Amazing asshole. Also the hero. How do you take a character that is so dark and loathsome as Covenant and turn them into someone worthy of the hero's journey?
I remember reading that as a 11-year-old.
Oh, honey.
Yes, that reaction right there.
Literally.
And that's why I remember that not fondly at all because I was too young to try and read that one.
Yeah.
I'd say 30 is about.
Yeah. 11 was too young. Oh. Yeah.
It explains a lot, though.
So
There is an explanation for me.
Now we
So how do we do that? How do we turn someone who is an irredeemable asshole into someone worthy of the hero's journey?
By not taking away what makes them an asshole. I mean, a hero can still be an asshole. Real life example are fighter pilots. I'm married to one. They are assholes for a reason.
Zipper shooting sundogs.
Do you guys know how fighter pilots look at helicopter pilots?
Oh, we always do.
Cold, wet, hungry, and scared.
And he loves it every time you say that.
I know he does.
He does.
Even they need heroes.
That's right. I I genuinely believe that I am Dan's heroine.
You are. Church of Thursday, girl.
Church of Thursday. All right. Yes.
Five
Right
in the
there.
forest in Sarajevo.
So with BBC Sherlock, how would you characterize Sherlock? Because while he does tell the truth, it's the reason he's an asshole is because he tells the truth and goes too far to the point where John's like, shut up.
Oh,
so
good
it's
question.
not that he's telling the truth that everyone wants to say, it's that he takes it too far.
So when you say BBC Sherlock, you're talking about the one with Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yes.
right? Okay.
He
Is
gets away with it
Benedict
'cause he's
Cumberbatch's?
hot.
He is hot.
Yeah.
Is Benedict? Okay. So I'm going to turn this into a two-parter because I'm the boss and I can do that. Part number one. Is Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock an asshole?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we agree that he's an asshole. Second. Does the fact that he's hot have bearing on whether or not he's an
Entirely
asshole?
qualified.
Yes. I think he has to have a likable quality, and that's his likable quality.
I think assholes can get away with a lot more in life if they're good looking.
Yeah. How about that?
Or funny. Good looking
Or funny.
Yeah, good looking or funny.
Heather.
Insanely intelligent.
Goodness.
Heather.
Sherlock in particular.
Hey guys, hold on.
Can't hear Heather.
I think the reason that Sherlock in particular works as an asshole character is because he specifically has Watson to counterbalance him and basically be the viewer viewpoint character the Watson often feels the exact same emotions that the viewer feels interacting or watching Sherlock do stuff, and I think having that character you can relate to as a viewer really affects the level of assholery from Sherlock you're willing to put up with.
Yeah.
But it's also his naivete, because
Well-
he's not trying to be an asshole.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
just acting the way he normally
Sheldon.
acts.
Yeah. Well, and so
Sheldon.
I'm the moderator, so I'm not supposed to tell you my opinions, but I'm also an asshole, so fuck it. Yeah. The other thing that I love so much about that Sherlock Watson dynamic that was done really, really well in that particular BBC series is that not only is Watson like our everyman lens, but he's also like a really smart guy, right? The dude's a freaking doctor and you know, a combat veteran, and he's not, you know, he's not nobody. He's not someone who doesn't have a basis for understanding. And yet still, he is there as Sherlock's foil to demonstrate like what a bizarre other level this asshole's on, right? Yeah,
One
love
thing
it.
I will add too, in terms of writing asshole characters, now full disclosure, I have only ever written one asshole character that I actually consider a successful asshole character, and all the others I just turn to my husband and say, husband, you're a bigger asshole than me, help me write this character. I have one character who is admittedly an asshole, and you over the course of the story, you learn distinct sympathetic reasons why he's an asshole, and he doesn't perceive himself as one, but in his case, he goes through debilitating chronic pain.
Yeah.
And when you learn that about him, like I know people who suffer chronic pain, and you can sometimes be in a terrible mood even though you're trying your hardest not to. And sympathetic details like that make a big difference in how the reader interprets an asshole character.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things that I think plays into what I was saying before earlier about like why do we love these particular assholes versus this group over here? And yeah, I think you're right. Those sympathetic details like that. Okay.
I think going back to Sherlock just very quickly, the scene where Sherlock is giving the speech at Watson's wedding, and you really see the depth of his affinity for Watson, even though his words don't necessarily come across that way, is beautifully done, and it does give Watson a little bit of a sympathetic streak to it that we identify with.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, I've paid a lot of attention to this side. Coming back to this side. So Sean, go ahead.
2 questions. Answer whichever one's funnier. How do you go about writing an asshole, and when does an asshole go too far?
I make my assholes hot.
Yeah.
That answered both.
I mean, all right. Seriously though, in any kind of romance or subgenre where there is a subplot of romance, the asshole character is inevitably hot because they can get away with so much more when they are hot.
Yeah. The one asshole character I've written, I forgot the first part of my answer, sorry. I make them funny.
Yeah.
But also, I kind of channel every mean thought that I have personally through this one asshole character, and
Love
he's
it.
like my little catharsis character. So
Yeah.
I love him. But he's also a really hilarious character. Like he just has really funny ways of phrasing things that completely dampen how much of an asshole he's actually being.
You're
And
right.
so there's a lot to be said for humor. But then I also write pulp fantasy adventure, so it's very silly stuff. So that plays a role too.
Yeah. Larry, what do you do? How do you write your assholes?
I write a lot of assholes, and because it comes naturally to me. And they're all Mary Sue's. Let's be honest.
Self-inserts.
That's Gary Stew.
They're Larry Sue's. It's the best kind of Sue. And no, okay. So seriously though, it's just like writing any other kind of character. It's all about making them real people that are relatable.
Yeah.
Even if they're assholes. If they're saying the shit that regular people want to say but can't, that's going to make the audience root for them. Now, the second part is like, do you ever think that assholes go too far? I hear that every day.
All right. Let's see. Yes. Go ahead.
Follow-up. I guess this is kind of sort of a follow-up on what Larry was saying, is that people who will not suffer fools graciously.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's society. We have wussified our society to the point that we let people run around being dicks, right? And it's honestly, you guys all seen Team America: World Police?
Yeah, but you guys have it backwards. Because sometimes dicks fuck assholes.
Actually, we're probably mixing up our terminology here, but you guys know what I'm getting at. Honestly, we let people in our society get away with lies and slander that in ye olde times and any other sane generation, I'd take my glove off and slap them in the face and leave it in the street. Okay? But we don't do that anymore. So we've kind of created a world where the bullies and the scumbags have been able to prey upon people mercilessly. And so, honestly, being an asshole can be actually chivalrous because you are stepping up on behalf of not just yourself, but others, and you are taking a stand. And that freaks a lot of people out because the herd doesn't like when somebody does that. So, sorry, I got to get a little philosophical.
No, but they love it when somebody else does it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Point of order, and if you guys have all seen this, you ever done where you stood up for something, and you fought for something, and then the nice people come along after? It's like, well, I agree with everything you said. Thank you for taking a stand. And we've been victimized for years, but you didn't have to be so mean about it. Where the fuck were you? You will always get those.
Yeah. Right here, and then we'll go back to this side of the room. Go ahead.
When you wrote Agent Franks, what was in your head the development of that character? Because when I first read him, I didn't like him at all.
Oh no, you're not supposed to.
He's one of my favorite characters in the book now.
Yeah. Franks is a very popular character, and actually writing a book from his perspective is actually the biggest challenge I've ever had as a writer, because I had to write an entire book with a point of view character who is the greatest fucking asshole in the history of Earth, and the dude is literally from hell. Like straight up from hell.
It's my favorite MHI book.
Yeah, it's probably actually one of the best books I've written because it was a challenge to do that. But the key is once again someone doing the things that regular people can't do.
Yeah.
And saying the things regular people can't say. But you also got to temper that, and I had to surround him by actual normal people to balance. It's kind of like it's like you're talking about Watson. It's like Watson's to Holmes.
Yeah.
I had to have normal people to balance out. Otherwise, it'd just be insufferable bleakness.
Well, and the other thing that...
Frank's kicking gnomes over fences
right.
for 300 pages.
I'm going to butt in here, because I can do that.
You can do that.
The other thing that you did, though, with that book in particular, is that's the first and I'm not caught up, I'll be honest. But that's the first and only time that we ever see Frank's vulnerable. Ever.
Yeah. If you can humanize your assholes, even if they're demons, if you can humanize them in some way and give them some sort of human connection that the audience can relate to, that brings them back down.
Yeah.
And that brings them back to within reach. And you got to have a connection. If you have someone who's a flawless asshole and they're just an asshole for no reason, but they don't have any human failings, then the audience can't relate to them.
Yeah. There was one here. Yes, right there.
So I try to write some of the humor from my military experiences where we're all assholes to each other.
Yeah.
Dude's wife leaves him, and they're like, hey man, we're gonna go with the street, don't just go against it. When writing that, sometimes the tone doesn't come across, or maybe the military tone doesn't come across. How do you adjust for that? Because otherwise it sounds dark when it's supposed to be funny, and it's the dark things we say to each other that you're not supposed to do. But that's an asshole thing, right?
And it's something that we do in the military. It's something that's very familiar to us. It's a different layer of how a team or a unit comes together. And I think what you do with that is you start with the unit in its normal operation, and then you show a little bit of those comments and so forth as you're going along, kind of sprinkling it in. Not necessarily being that you're catching everybody when it's, after the meal's over with and they're smoking and joking. You have an opportunity to just kind of throw those little bits of banter in because it comes. And then as you sprinkle the banter in, like, I was a tanker, so, when I write armor sequences, I have my tank crews talking like my tank crew talked. And it was we were always very professional, but every once in a while be like, hey sir, don't miss this time. Yeah, all right, fuck you guys. So you can do that as long as you don't overpower it at first, because then you build into it and it becomes more real as you go along. There's an excellent series by a CKP author, Bill Frisbee, writes The Last Marines.
It's a good series.
And he is perfectly doing it, because he just starts with just a little bit of it, and by about halfway through the book, you don't even notice it, because that's how the team talks, that's how they banter. So I think if you just kind of sprinkle it in at the beginning, then you got a way to go.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah. As a writer, yeah.
As a writer,
yeah.
Siska, you had a question.
Actually, I do have a question, which is, what is the difference between just being an asshole and a villain? Because a lot of the assholery we've talked about are like the hero's journey into being a personable, but assholes aren't always the hero or the main character. So what is that fine nuance maybe between that?
I mean, if you're doing something like eating babies, I think it's pretty obvious who the villain asshole is.
Sure.
But
Is that an asshole?
Sure.
I think there's a difference between personality and action.
Yeah.
Like, an asshole is just kind of like, well, that's just who you are. You're kind of an asshole, but if you're a villain, if you're doing really bad things, you can still be a really nice guy. I'm just doing this for science,
Yeah, intent and action, I think.
It's kind of like there's that old trope, but it's trope for a reason, where everybody's villain of the story thinks they're the hero of the story.
Every villain is the hero of their own story.
Exactly, because very few villains very few good villains in fiction. There are some are just evil for the straight up sake of being evil. Thank you. And some people just want to watch the world burn. But that's a great asshole right there. The Joker. And so the key is, I think it's motivational.
Yeah.
And sometimes the asshole of the story thinks they're the hero. They're just an asshole. And so I think it's just kind of a perspective thing. And it's funny, because on this panel we've been talking about like life, and we've been talking about writing, and those two aren't necessarily the same thing.
Yeah.
As far as portraying stuff.
Yeah. Gentleman in the back.
Some of your universes have more than one asshole in them.
Oh yeah.
In situations like that, do you find it more or less difficult to write the lesser asshole? In the other universe, Franks versus Grant Jefferson, perhaps.
Yeah, it's like the alpha. You have like the alpha asshole.
The grand
You're like
asshole.
level. Like this guy's a level 3 asshole. This guy's like a level 50 asshole.
The hierarchy of assholes.
Yeah. It's like this guy went to asshole
like
college.
Asshole RPG. That RPG.
That's one of your stats.
Yeah, right.
On your RPG, is your asshole score.
This one has a PhD.
I totally want to write that in one of my books now.
I got like a 99.
Yeah, I wonder,
I fight Tiamat on Twitter. Fuck you, Tiamat. Blocked. No. No. So. I got you. Sorry, that's getting really absurd. It's a midnight panel. Yeah, no. So it's like any other type of character. You can have multiple heroes, you know, and it's the same kind of thing. You just got to differentiate and humanize them, and have a reason, you know, for everybody having different levels. And some people, just like in real life, some of us have minor asshole tendencies, and other people, you know, are like major douchebags. You know, just make them human. Make them human and make them plausible, and the audience will go along with it.
Yeah, give them a reason for their assholery, is what you got to do. Just give them a reason.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, right here.
How, between genders, how do you categorize an asshole from a bitch? Like in a woman's situation, if she is an asshole, she's usually categorized more as a bitch rather than.
So is there a difference, but is a bitch just a female asshole? Or is there a difference between a bitch and an asshole? Is that about right?
That's an interesting one of terminology.
Yeah.
I feel qualified to answer this one.
Yes.
You're like, are they interchangeable?
I do really think that they are two very different things. You can be a bitch, but it's kind of like being a dick. You're being mean. Ask my husband, there are certain times where I am being a bitch, but usually I'm just an asshole. It's a degree of lovableness. I mean, you know. But I do think there is a difference.
Yeah, I honestly, that's one of those. I think it's going to come down to like the cultural terminology for you and what you're.
Yeah. Because
a lot of these words were like I a lot of times would like talk to say somebody's a dick rather than an asshole. You know, but I think they're kind of interchangeable. So if they're a bitch or an asshole, wow! And I'm sure someone's recording and they're going to take snippets of this.
No, don't be a dick.
They're going to throw it on the internet and they'll be like, I was right about Larry Correia. Well, so that's a good question. So it's like you mentioned Beth Dutton.
Yes.
And I've not even watched Yellowstone. I've only seen clips.
Yeah.
Right? But and maybe this is just a pedantic thing, but of the clips of Beth that I've seen, I'd be like, that's a bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd say she's an asshole.
No, unpopular opinion, I think she's a bitch. I do.
But she speaks the truth that
She
nobody
does.
wants to hear.
She does, but she's also a little bit crazy.
She's also mean about
it.
It's the meanness.
Can I answer this one too? Because so.
You're the boss.
Okay, fine. Thank you guys. I'm answering this one too. Yes, and I fully agree with all of that. But I also think that it is 100% a question of semantics and splitting hairs and individual definitions for sure. But I think there's also like, you know, what this whole thing of like reclaiming terms, right? And I have told my daughters, like, you know, one's 21 and I called her out at the Bain Rouge of that's who she was if you guys were there and saw that. And one is 10. And I tell them both equally. I'm like, listen, you come from a long, distinguished line of bad bitches.
Yeah.
You have this to live up to. Be a bad bitch, right? And so is that different than being a bitch? In my head it is. But that's an individual definition.
See, right? I know your mom. I really like your mom. So she's
a bad bitch.
And I ain't
though.
saying nothing mean about your mom.
No.
Casey's mom is awesome.
She is awesome. Casey's got it going on. Dude, the woman's awesome, right? Like she's
talking
retired colonel, like rancher. She's badass. She's beautiful too. I hope I look like her when I'm older. So yeah, sorry. Why did we start talking about my family? Like, because I'm an asshole.
You're the boss.
That's why.
You brought up the daughters.
Line of badass bitches.
Line of badass bitches.
All right. You already talked, Rich. Not your turn. Right here. Yes.
I'm sorry, this came to me. Has there ever been an instance where there was an asshole character and something happened, they were no longer an asshole and you no longer like them?
Oh, where they stop being an asshole and therefore we stop liking them.
Yeah.
I feel like yes, but I can't think of an answer as an example.
I can't think of them.
I can think of plenty of examples where we have assholes who become heroes, but they're still assholes.
I kind of want to say there's like the trope of the Christmas movies. Where there's the heartless bastard.
The heartless bastard.
And then like he finds true love or discovers the meaning of Christmas.
Yeah.
And I only know this because I've written all the Christmas down joke stories.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's why you know it.
Yeah, you know. I've always liked Christmas. To be fair, well, actually, no. That's my wife's gonna say that's a lie. All right, never mind. but okay, like Scrooge, Bill Murray and Scrooge, but he was still likable at the end because it was so goofy. So I don't know. As far as becoming unlikable,
I feel like genre is important.
Yeah.
When you think about Hallmark movies and Christmas stories in general, unless they're trying to be intentionally subversive, they're meant to be cozy and fun things to watch. And in that particular context, when the asshole suddenly gains a heart, it's a positive thing for the viewer who is looking for that specific thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in the middle of a military sci-fi novel or something equivalently coarse where the assholery is part of the fun, I can see how that would affect the reading, but I can't actually think of any specific examples where it happens.
So,
off the top of my head.
In Alien. Yeah, Gorman the Tunnel.
Gorman?
Yeah. The last
He stopped being an asshole.
But he was still, he was still cool though. It was a cool scene. Him and Vasquez, that was a cool
That
scene.
was one of the coolest scenes ever, and I would argue that he wasn't not being an asshole there. I mean, he was still himself.
You stopped liking him when he stopped being
a nice guy at the end, and they pretended that was enough for redemption.
But people still liked him. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's actually a good one.
I mean, I can see that argument being made. Yeah.
So I can think of an example that, again, this is very genre specific though, right? Like, this is going to be a shock to many of you, I'm sure, but I read a lot of reverse harem romances, and one of the trends within the reverse harem world is, are like bully romances, right? Where the guys are just complete assholes to the heroine at the beginning of the book. And at some point there's a change and they get together and they all have sex and it's a big party and everyone's having a good time. But in a lot of these stories, if they're well done, I continue to like the guys, okay? But in a lot of these stories, the assholes will go from being assholes to being like complete whiny, grovelly bitches.
Oh, they go all
not in like the bad bitch sense of the word, but just like whiny dudes. And
we've all met that guy in real life too.
Yeah, I'm probably pretty sexist right now. I'm just gonna own that.
And all his bros are like dudes.
Yeah.
No, but she's right, because sometimes they take those asshole characters and they make them too nice, and what you liked about them is gone.
Yeah, and it's not that they're too nice. Like, I don't have a problem with them being nice, but they become whiny, and they become super anxious and jealous. Anxious and jealous. Yeah, I don't love that.
What are you doing?
One thing I'll add is there's a certain power in being an asshole. And
yes.
When certain characters stop being an asshole, they become weak.
Yeah.
That goes back to Darth Vader.
Right.
That's a great. Darth Vader was a great point.
Yeah.
Back to Larry's chart, the confidence level drops once
Yep.
you're with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They
Yeah.
go off the channel.
They might still be confident, but once you lose the
Okay,
confidence.
everybody put your hands
Screw
down.
that guy.
No.
If you have a question, put your hand up.
Put your hand up.
Okay, I saw you first. Go ahead.
Do it.
So your characters that are assholes, do they know they're assholes? And does the amount of their awareness of them being an asshole factor into how much we like them as a character? Like if they were totally aware they were assholes, would we not care about them so much?
That's a good question. Yeah. I think it varies because it's like just the different characters we've cited.
Yeah.
Some of them know they're assholes and embrace it. Others know they're assholes and fight against it. Others don't know they're assholes.
Yeah. Others know they're assholes and don't care.
Yeah. Or they just don't know about it at all. They're just completely clueless about it.
Well, I think Ashok probably doesn't know he's an asshole. He thinks he's.
He just is what he is. Yeah, he doesn't actually think about stuff. I mean, it's not like this is not a man who's burning a village and like throwing babies in the fire, and he's like, are we the bad guys? I don't know. But like we just talked about, like Lieutenant Gorman. Gorman doesn't think he's an asshole. Yeah, Gorman thinks he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
He's just doing his job. He's had 2 simulated combat jumps.
Two.
Yeah, right, or whatever the line was.
All right.
Somebody wake up, Hicks.
My favorite character.
So, in order to not be an asshole, I'm going to make sure that we end this panel on time. But first, you're welcome. You're welcome. But first, I would like to give our panelists the opportunity. First, let's give them a hand because they're fucking awesome. I feel really powerful right now. Okay, now stop. Dude, I am powerful. This is awesome.
Yeah, you are.
This is how villains are born, you guys.
Yeah.
We have created a monster.
That's right. Now I'd like to give our panelists the opportunity to tell us where we can find them for the rest of the con, where we can get their books and assorted other merchandise, and any last asshole comment that they'd like to include. And we will start with Heather.
Okay. I don't really have any asshole comments. Thank you for coming.
That's why I wanted to start with you, because you are our token marshmallow on the asshole.
HP Holo /Edie Sky. You can find all my stuff on Amazon. And as for where I'm going to be for the rest of the con, most of the time I'm going to be just hanging out in the bar. But I've also got a few panels. Like I have the biggest panel schedule of anyone in this con.
Yeah,
so
you do.
Just
Yeah.
look up my name. I will be at places tomorrow.
Awesome. Larry, go next.
I got a monster panel tomorrow, and my assholeless comment is I really wish we had somebody else in this room after us so we could run over.
Yeah.
Melissa.
Just to accentuate it.
Hey, you can find me in the bar after this because I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't feel my best anymore. You can find me at Chris Kennedy Publishing because he is awesome, and you've been a wonderful group of assholes, and I love you all.
Yeah.
Yes, assholes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ike.
You
know what? No, you don't get. No, I'm kidding. I'm an
Kacey, you go next.
I've got one more panel tomorrow, and then you can find me. I've got a table with Chris Kennedy Publishing. I've got a smattering of titles. Find me wherever Bane books are sold and Chris Kennedy Publishing.
Yeah. Woo! And yes.
Quick question for Larry. Based on your earlier comment when we started, we expect a new series, Asshole Hunters?
I don't know. That could be harem.
Yeah, that's a harem
That actually could go a lot of different ways and would probably be my best-selling book on Amazon. That market is way bigger than sci-fi fantasy, and I would like clean up. So.
All right.
Badass.
If any of you assholes give a shit, my name's Kacey Ezell. You can find me. You can find me tomorrow. I have I'm again moderating. You're welcome. A panel about something totally different, building a fan community.
Yes.
So
the opposite of what
we're doing tonight.
no.
Yeah. I mean, but not right, like not. Yeah.
How many assholes we got on this ship?
Yeah, that's right. I was waiting for someone to quote Spaceballs. I was. Thank you, Kevin, for not letting me down.
High five.
Also, KaceyEzell.com or .net. You can find me there. I got a YouTube channel. I talk about being a writer and being alive because those are two things that are true. And for now, yeah, you can find my books at Chris Kennedy Publishing and Bane and some other places. So yeah, that's it. Hey, you guys are assholes.
Yeah.